progress to be made. And it has to. They have to. You'll see. Well, the revelations here has happened, and it has to happen like this. In order for people to see. I mean, well, we have an open panel tonight. Let's go ahead and put a link up. I mean, down to business. What's it all about? I'm not gonna lie, guys. I love destroying controls and stuff. I love it. I can't help it.
What's up, dog? What's up, friend? So Ernie is on, and he's opening up his panel for people to go on. I was playing with settings. I don't know if that music is distracting. So this is Claudia from What's. Hey, Ren, I have a link in there if you want to come up. This is Claudia from What's Up, Dog. That is one word, capital W, capital U, capital D, as in a dog named What? And from Hands to Paws, please go join the Hands to Paws Facebook page where we will be doing lives on ears, nails, skin, coat, and specifically breed-specific Q doodles. So jump over to Hands to Paws Facebook page and like that page. Look, Huntaholic is coming on. What's up, Huntaholic?
What's up, dog?
What's up, dog? Let me see if I can get this music off. It's really annoying me. It's a new feature. Oh, good. That was really annoying. God. So I could not watch last night's live because I did my Rosanna Dana because I've gotten so into this Summer Wells case and it goes so deep. And now there's so many creepers involved. And I watched the oh my God, I didn't write down the Enchanted Life Path. And Ren, you've got to go watch him because what he does is the numerology and he does all the signs and symbols and he puts them all in play. And then he also goes through the child swapping.
Okay, hold on. Where's my book? All right, where's my Summer Wells book?
Your Summer Wells book, yeah, because we're all on the Summer Wells case. So so Enchanted, he puts it all together, and then anybody that's been following the case, you can think of certain things that Don said and that people have said that start correlating all these stories, and the reality of it becomes so harsh. I was like, whoa, I'm going right back to some good old dog content.
Oh.
So tonight, we're going to go back to the beginning of children and dogs being on the bottom of an abuse chain and the importance of that relationship. Because Summer had a dog named Lucky. She was 5 years old, and she has heroes looking for her. In fact, Ernie Shell from Operation Rescue Our Children is live, and I do not want to be competing with Ernie in any way, shape, or form. And he is out there, him and his team, helping change laws to make sure children of these kinds of situations are saved. So, and this is the universal, which Doug from New Thanks is now doing at least once on his live. So Doug, who's on Ernie's live right now. I want to say thanks to Doug and his sense of humor, and what a great job he's doing. And this is a hand signal. If you couldn't speak that you were in trouble, it's from the Gabby Petito Foundation, and it is a way of signaling somebody that there is a problem that you may not be able to visually show or say, and it is already saving lives.
Okay, what was that creator's name?
Enchanted. God, I just blanked out on it. The other big one is the NSOPW. While I look for this name, because I also have tons and tons of notes. I just subscribed to him and I watched all his videos. He's the guy in the movie that I said you going down the, like remember the good old Buffy the Vampire days? And you'd go down the researchers thing and you'd go in and then he'd put everything together and he'd be like, this is the devil you're looking for. This is the demon. He looks like this. And they'd get all, they'd be like, okay, we're going to go get that demon bad guy. Well, that's this guy. He's that guy in the room doing all the research.
Okay.
Enchanted Life Garden. Wait, I have it written somewhere. And then Betty is back to doing her lives on her coffee time. And she's smiling, but she still has all that anger in her eyes. But she's not staring down the camera with fury in her face anymore. Enchanted Life Path.
Enchanted Life Path.
Enchanted Life Path.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, go. He does one where he specifically goes into numerology and the numbers and signs and symbols. It was the one that after watching it, my mouth fell. And I realized that they were literally talking about, I know these people are challenging Ernie and the men in the YouTube community. Now that the heel thing, that pressure campaign is out, they're really putting a pressure campaign. All of them, True Crime Exposed, Ernie, Kitty is just out of his mind. He is. I don't know what he is thinking or not thinking, but he is just insane. With the things he said, I listened to him the other day, and he just went off about how any woman could. The word wasn't shame; it was much more than that. Just devalidate and humiliate, whether it was his mother, his sister, or any woman. And then he went into a Molly-go-lucky rant where it was just like, ooh, dude, wow. Did anybody ever say counselor?
Now?
Oh my God. So I wanted to kind of start moving. I mean, of course, I'm an Ernie fan, and he's out there. He just passed a bill. He's the only one. He still speaks politely. He's our superhero. Ernie is our superhero. And maybe I'll get to introduce him to my daughter, because I want to be a guest at Ernie's wedding. I hope he winds up with the most, and all the women love him. He gets all the ladies, they shamelessly, and he's just like, of course I'm gorgeous.
He was telling about his girlfriends the other night.
He was what?
He was telling about his girlfriends the other night.
That's got to be hysterical. I can't imagine that's a lot of Ernie's vein. I love him, but he's.
That was funny.
Yeah. And then Josh from the Lab 2.0, he did this video today that he wrote. And Josh comes from, I love these guys, right? Ernie comes from so much adversity, things that just normal people wouldn't understand. And Josh comes from a real similar situation. And you know that Chris McDonough from the Interview Room just loves him some Josh. And
Yeah.
I just love me some Chris McDonough. So he put up a video today. It was called How Far to Neverland? How Far to Neverland?
I
And
almost watched that.
oh my God, it's so good. He did such a first of all, he says it with enough emotion to touch and tap on your emotions, right? So he's tap dancing all over your emotions because he has enough of that in there. And then he does this beautiful, I almost want to say it's like a poem, but it's not quite a poem, but little commentary, I'll say commentary, on how precious children are and the meaning of taking care of them, basically. It was very, very well done. And it was
Right
on a
on.
very positive, it wasn't negative. It was more about the joy of, it was good. It was really good.
I'll
And
watch it.
then I'm showing up on the feeds now, right? So I don't know if I'm going to be showing up on them, is that I'm not talking about as much true crime and going back to the dogs. I love you, Ernie. He's on right now. So if you're talking to me on Facebook, I can't see you because Ernie Shell is on Operation Rescue Our Children. He is our
End of the
superhero.
hour.
Yeah, Ernie is the children's superhero, ladies. Back up. He's already got a slew that have applications in. Okay, Ernie. And I got his back because, I'm too old for him and oh my God, Ernie. That's our children's superhero. I don't care what you say. I'm on his team. So now I'm coming up on the feeds, but excuse me, other people are coming up on my feed, and this cute woman, I don't even know what her name is, but she made a channel. She must have been a Molly Golightly follower or sub, not as in subordinate, but she takes donations, and I don't know what else she does on her channel, but she went through their wish lists on YouTube, and she was like telling people how much money was actually spent, what was doubled on the wish list. Like she was adding it up for people. Like, you check this out. So I thought that was really funny. And then I see her show up on my feed again, and she's just a woman in her living room doing YouTube. And through her donations, she got a puppy. So that's Trainwreck. And I've got to go download this video as I do, we start talking more dog, because the video I watched her do with Molly, she looked like, she was kind of unkept and, just in the house lounging around. And then she picked up her brand new puppy, Louie, that she was thanking her people for contributing to her to get. I couldn't tell you if Louie was a poodle puppy or a Pomeranian mixed puppy. I couldn't tell. It looked like a poodle puppy to me. Looked like Louie had a shaved face. She was so elated. She was so elated. She was shining. When she looked in the camera, her eyes were like, bing, and little Louie's kissing her, and she's looking in the camera, and
Aw.
I was like, oh my God, that's the best video ever, ever, ever. It was so real.
Nice.
Yeah, train wreck. So I wrote down some stuff tonight because I wanted to go as, I'm sorry, Ernie, I'm not there for you and I'm not commenting. I'm sorry. I need a hat. I need an Ernie Shell hat. I love them. I can't wait to see how this goes. I can't wait. He just said
Well, you
this
changed your
is
background.
going down just the way it's supposed to be going down. Don't worry about it, Tennessee. We're coming. And I get my suspicions. I get really super suspicious. Is true crime exposed? Is he a cop? How many of these YouTubers is Kitty? I mean, he's a known informant. He's not working on the good guys team. He's bad guy. Good guys, bad guys. This guy's a bad guy. I've met bad guys. I've met bad guys way tougher than Kitty. He's a bad guy. He's a bad guy even the bad guys don't like. Who else could be enforcement? Who's really working? Chris McDonough, we already know. No shame in his game. He is enforcement. Even though he's not active enforcement, he's cold case enforcement. I wonder who else. How many people in the chats? What do you think?
I bet there's a few running around from chat to chat to chat.
I think there's a whole bunch of cyber officers that are doing their jobs, that are being heroes, and are paying attention to those that are paying attention to people in chats and what they're talking. It's been amazing to watch real heroes. Doug from No Thanks, he's being a real hero. He messed up that, he did the thing, and oh my God, what a great turnaround.
Yeah.
Because he turned it around and became a hero. Just by doing the sign for women in distress, he made a huge public mistake, apologized, which even when he did his apology, there was like, he did all the feelings first, then he did an apology, and then he kind of went into the feelings. So you were kind of like, Doug, not the, but he has so turned it around. Like, he has so earned me. Like, I'm Team Doug.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
like Doug.
And he's turned into a hero for the kids. He's
Yeah.
stuck to his guns. And nobody brings up Jody Sue anymore, which I'm really happy, because she asked to be out of it. She asked for her kids and for safety. And people are becoming more respectful when they're talking about other children involved in this case, that whether they like them, they don't like them, they agree with it, they're parents, they're this, they're that, they still should be protected under the name of the law. So,
well,
and
Jody
you don't know if
Sue
they're a
has
victim or not.
proven herself over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are finally understanding that it wasn't her down there.
Wasn't who down there?
It wasn't Jody Sue down there.
Oh, yeah. And I believe everybody's still a suspect. I'm still rooting that, I heard a lot of really surprising things. I found them very surprising coming from women, whether they had suffered anything as a child or as an adult. But, I heard a lot of, that once those pictures aired, she was already telling the story of being a survivor. But, you think as somebody, I'm just going to do it again, because I don't think that anybody that doesn't realize, God, Jesus, what it feels like to get abused. And that's just thinking somebody's coming at you, acting reactive. That's not the assault that actually takes place, and the protection and the shame and the, all the other things that go with it. So it was just surprising to see a community not have to be pushed into saying what is too much, and when are you not acknowledging that somebody that lives like that on a daily basis is completely cognizant of what's going on. Trauma doesn't do that to the brain. That's why it's trauma.
Right.
So, and this whole, thank God for Ernie's and Doug's and Josh's, And Josh has, through all the adversity that he's been through and what he deals with, that's why I'm a part of this group, which much later on in my YouTube career I will expose. But these guys got my heart. They really do. You know, I'm definitely on the Ernie, Doug, Josh, Chris McDonough crew. Of course, the behavioral panel, who I adore. I am Chase Hughes' #1 fangirl. Even though I haven't been fangirling him lately, it doesn't mean I've lost any admiration.
Right.
So I wanted to go all the way back to the beginning and say that puppies present the happiest moments of what I think little Summer Wells and her brothers experienced. That and dirt bikes. The boys probably absolutely adored the dirt bikes.
Yeah.
And Don had said it, you know, when he talked about Summer being in a dungeon. The basement was the dungeon. The basement was damp and wet and cold and sad and dark and scary. And that's why she wanted to be outside. And the puppies taught self-esteem. Now, in the theories that go very deep in this case, whether it's the truth in her particular circumstance, and that gets exposed because it's one hell of a movie, or it's going to expose the other things that they're speaking about, like swapping kids. That would have been the best moments of any child's life on that property.
Yes.
Because dogs teach self-esteem. Dogs are a place where if you're being bullied, and we can call this bullying in the softest sense of what was actually happening here, that is not unique, which is why her and the dogs are the poster children to awareness, because they're saving lives. They're the place when kids are being bullied, if they have an animal that can help reduce bullying, because they learn compassion, they learn about hunger, they learn about feeding, they learn about empathy just by playing house. Because children mentally the average dog is mentally about 2 years old. So think of a toddler running around with big eyes, happy to see you, just releasing love every time you walk in, and up to 5 years old, like my dogs, because I like them super smart.
Right.
And what that does, every time you see your dog, any of us as adults, as a child, they're greeted with the same kind of, I've never seen you before. And the amazing thing about dogs and children is, even if somebody is being horrible to them, they still see you that way. So to have people like Ernie and Doug and Josh and Chris and Michelle and Trish, who I love, Trish from Missing from Not Forgotten. She exposed a lot of what people are talking about now, way back when, and got poo-hooed for it. And now everybody's talking about her content.
Yeah.
I think the world of her. She is being very, very friendly with and you know that little emoji that makes you throw up? Yeah. But could she be an undercover? I was listening to her today and I was like, well, this is kind of the opposite of how I thought you would, you know what I mean? Like, be buddy, because you're pretty tough. You never know. You never know. You just never know. Right. So just speculation. Just speculation. Because I'm going, because what I figure is there's a lot of tactics going on. I do believe that they do have a plan. And I do believe they're exposing, and what Ernie said, it's going down the way it's supposed to go down. It's going to go down fast and furious. I think they probably had a lot of information on a lot of things. It's how deep, and to watch the out and out challenge, these there's the good guys and there's the bad guys. And the bad
Yeah.
guys are bowing up. They're doing, what are you going to do about it? And you know what you're going to do about it? You're going to get movie stars and superheroes like Ernie, who nobody has any problem looking at, by the way, who
Yeah.
never speaks foul, who has light on his face and has a past. So, I mean, who doesn't love a bad boy, right? Bad boy, good. I mean, you talk about
Everybody
putting the
can
right
change.
man in front of a camera, it's Ernie Shell. And don't get us, mom, if he exposes everything to us, all us women, and we join together, somebody should watch out. That is not what anybody wants, because you have a world full of angry women willing to stand up and say, oh, no, no. Puppies and dogs help children process emotions and feelings. And in situations like this, where they wouldn't even know that their Abby normal is Abby normal because it's their only normal, and children up until the age of 7 don't even have the ability to reason, dogs help process the emotions when you have no ability to process the emotion.
That's right.
Because so they give that health, which is critical, critical. And they give joy. So when I think about Summer's life and the 21 dogs, I think that she loved to be outside and her dogs were keeping her safe. And when she got to swing on her swing and she was running free, very much as I was as a child, because I didn't have the SA, but I had neglect, and I was very young on my own wandering around with a dog. And I will always say that dog's name was Henry, and he made sure I was safe. He could always get us home, which is why I love herding dogs to this day,
Hmm.
because if I'm lost, they're going to take me home.
Yep.
Dogs help with the number one thing is nonverbal communication. So no matter what's being said, or if you have developmental issues, which you wouldn't know, right? Because you're just a little kid. You wouldn't know
Right.
if you were having developmental issues from trauma, from lack of schooling, from lack of repetition of the positive things, from, not having the contact. The dogs are going to help with just honest, nonverbal communication. And fortunately, for any child that is in such extreme circumstances, that number one communication is going to be love. And they're going to cuddle, and they're going to want to be held, and they'll let you cry into them. So, and they'll let you know when they're afraid. Remember, when we're talking about real abuse and we're talking about twitching, if you watch the Wells dogs on the property, they're always sketchy. They're always like, because they are aware that volatility can come out. That
Yes.
even though they're half wild, if they didn't have those kind of relationships, they'd be like the pack that's on the ground now, as we all saw with Molly, that just took a little bit of coaxing and were very, very like, oh, people, yay,
Oh,
feed me.
smack. All
Yeah,
right.
that's great. Come on,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
As compared to when we first are allowed to see dogs on the property and they're all, like Mike Jackson does it too. Sketchy. Not because um, he was a shy personality. I don't want it because he was always a very shy personality. And then he was put with somebody that was a little harsh for that shy person. I'm gonna put this as nicely as I can because I'm still friends with this person. He was put with too harsh a personality for his soft personality, and it created at a very young age. us. And because he looks like Batman, it's super sketchy. And that's what the dogs on the property displayed, was being around volatile. Whoa, 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 what are you going to do?
Right.
And that is that nonverbal communication that is so clear without speaking, because children and dogs just don't have the ability, under the age of 7, I should say children, under the age of 7, to rationalize what else is happening. And then I'm going to say it again, they also don't know that there's any other scenario other than the one they're living in. They have no point of reference. So until they go to school, and in Summer's case, because DCF was coming and she is the evidence, she was wearing the evidence, she probably would have been removed that day.
Oh yeah.
She's going to get gone the day before. So
they would have all got gone.
Right. When I did my rant last night, I forgot 2 incredibly important things, which Enchanted Garden brought up, and I had never thought of this, and it was horrifying to me. There's irony, there's something sadistic about Summer being on milk, because when we think of Amber Alerts, and we think of the first thing that was ever done for missing children, we think of milk cartons. It hit me like a brick, like a brick. I was like, that's not even funny. And I never, and all the YouTubers I've listened to, I've never heard anybody say that.
I haven't either.
Right? That one's
Didn't think of
like,
it.
oh, yeah. There was another too, and I can't remember it because my brain goes, there's a film that he'll put up, which I'd seen, and it had disturbed me. It had disturbed me greatly. And it is with Summer, with Robin, and Robin picks her up. And Summer's touching her inappropriately. It's inappropriate. It's not inappropriate as far as outwardly inappropriate, but the hugging and like when you're watching the child, you're like, what's going on? Do you know? And it had disturbed me when I first saw it, and he brings it in his video and talks about the body language that is going on. The other thing, remember what I said about Trish from Missing But Not Forgotten Speculation? Is she working with the police? Hey, David. What did you say about milk? Milk does the body good. In this case, all right.
I gotta grab my dinner out of the oven. I'll be right back.
Okay. David, what do you think of the milk? Tell me, David. What about the milk? Tell me about the milk, because I thought that was so very interesting. Did you leave my chat? Did you go over to Ernie or no thanks? Are you waiting for my sister? She was on last night. Where were you? Where were you last night, David? So the milk carton really, really disturbed me because of the irony behind it. And I'm going to say it again. Enchanted Life Path does the most interesting videos. Missing But Not Forgotten had shown a lot of these videos and done a lot of speculation with pictures on the child not being the same child. Now, this is speculation. This is not actually. I believe Summer was alive at the house, David. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just put up David's comment. I do believe Summer. I believe the dogs tell us that Summer was alive at the house. I don't believe they picked up scent from other days. I believe those dogs know exactly what they're doing. I really do. Just like I believe that those dogs on the property gave her the joys that Summer had in her life by being outside with those dogs and having companionship and real friendship and empathy and love and trust. Because I really believe that the only safe, real safe place for Summer or any child, let me put it this way, any child on that property was in those moments with the dogs. These were the ones that they could trust and their nonverbal communication, and they could count on each other. As a little girl, I bet that Summer went and took those dogs and went somewhere and she would talk to them. And it wasn't in that basement. I don't believe that those dogs were in that basement with her. I believe those dogs were outside where she loved to be. Yeah, and I do believe she was there. David, what do you think about the other theories that are running around there about what may be exposed? What do you think about the milk cartons? You don't think there's any, let's see, David, I got to put my glasses on because I'm old. Well, you said she heard Summer crying. You know, she's alive at the house. Her brother said the TBI had seen her alive. What? When did the TBI see her alive? Are you messing with me, David? When did the TBI see her alive? Are you still trying to tell me that she's with Grandis? Because Grandis is back. And Rose Bly is missing. I don't think that Chris McDonough opened up a cold case because she wasn't. And Grandis is back. She's the one, as far as I know. I not look at records, but as far as what I know, if you can believe everything that you hear, which you cannot on YouTube, you have to be careful about who you're listening to. But I believe it was Grandis that called 911 the other night. So you're still with the Rose. So do you think Rose planned her own disappearance? Is that what you think? And that she wouldn't have wanted to see her children all these years? All right, I can't wait to see if you're right, David, because this case is a game of Clue. This case is about 15 Lifetime movies put into one. And the only person I'm interested in is Summer. Because Dawn and Candace are cray-cray to the ninth, and they're not even that interesting. It's interesting how it's playing out. It's interesting. It's interesting what's getting exposed and how it's getting exposed. And it's interesting how much challenging is going on back and forth. Goodness gave her to Rose. Mm-hmm. So, and then all the little details of the mountain in Tennessee is super interesting. But I do believe, because of the scenarios that have happened in this game of Clue, this drama, that people are being challenged. And I do believe that nefarious people are challenging law enforcement in a social warfare, which I'm not sure that I'm proud to be a part of. I'm proud to be part of the good guys, and I'll take the heroes. I tell someone face up to grandma and have a talk to her face and make her understand what she has done. She won't show that Summer as well. If I were Summer's grandmother, isn't that an interesting statement? If I were Summer's grandmother and I thought that any of these nefarious people could get to my baby girl, I might not let them know either. I might be willing to take that risk. If it meant saving her life, that might be a risk worth taking, because if that's the truth, nobody would want to see Grandis in prison. Unfortunately, the laws are the laws. So how does that all come out when you have so many eyes on a case? Do we expose what, and then do we give a pass? I mean, what happens, and how do we know, or does Summerwell's become a cold case? What are the answers, David, to all these questions? Very, very interesting. So I'm going to go back to dogs and Summer and the kids with their puppies and how they helped them process feelings, because they would help them process feelings because a child doesn't have an understanding of all their feelings. So if they're mistreated, children will do what you do. Remember that saying, because it's as true today as it was yesterday. They will do what they do. So if they see anger, they're going to emulate anger. If they see chaos, they're going to emulate chaos. Those are feelings. If you live around a calm feeling, you tend to be calm. If you live around chaotic feeling, or if you are a child of an alcoholic or a drug addict, you learn basically to become an enabler, right? Because you have to pick up after them. You have to clean up after them. You have to comfort them. That relationship gets very turned around. So how do children in those situations process feelings? Well, thank God they had the animals. Candace's main goal is to destroy Don and make him go to jail, or make him leave Candace, and it's taken some time, but it's working. Yeah, well, if they had arrested Don the other night and charged him, because so there's no question, and it's amazing to me, David, how the community has avoided the basic abuse. I mean, Don is verbally accosted on publicly. Publicly. He has no shame in that game because it's his regular way of speaking. And though Candace may have definitely victimized at some point, she was the victim. So we can have sympathy for the things that she went through, and maybe not as much for the victimizer that she becomes. Unfortunately, that makes her part of the continuing cycle. And unless some of this stuff gets exposed and we actually, yeah, that'd be pretty, I mean, David, what do you think about, because, we hear all sorts of craziness with this grandma. We really do, Miss Grandis. We hear Latin man at the house. He's dating all, including Grandis. Where do they get all this stuff? Is any of this actually based in truth? Because Grandis is the one that hasn't spoken. Grandis, if she's actually hiding Summer, which would be the best case scenario. However, if she were scared of whatever they're involved in, because they're involved in more than just what has happened here. They're involved in more. And are we going to get to see this fully exposed? I mean, Ernie keeps talking about being only around for 45 more days. However, then he's going to be a movie star. And I don't think Ernie's going to be the kind of guy not to stay on a cause. He may not be the front man warrior on the cause, but I do think that he's going to stay on the cause.
Don's got less than 2 weeks of freedom left.
Well, that's only if they put him away on the DUI charge. They could just increase his probation. He could go in. It's not like they can use this case against this case. They can either give him like the 30 days, or they can give him, they could add it on to his probation. They could legally just give him a slap on the hand.
I hope they provoke his probation and give him time.
So David says that let's see, she lost her first daughter because Rose was getting beaten, and now Grandis decided not to stay back and watch time run, so she took control. May this be the God's honest truth.
How do you know all this, David?
He's saying that Rose Bly left because she was in danger from her husband. I don't know. How do you know all this, David? And when will we find this out? Are they in a protection? How does it work in a case like this if somebody was in a protection program? Because in a protection program, they would have to keep their identities and where they were secret. How would they spin that narrative? Speculation, but it's a really good storyline he's talking about. Are you going to write this book? You going to write this script, David?
Well, they're supposedly bringing Candace up on charges on Hunter.
Which the parents can do. Because he was, it might be, I don't know how the young man feels about it. I think that, unfortunately, his male parent makes me do the puke emoji. And the signs and symbols, I think he's one of the ones bowing up and challenging. I don't believe he has his son's best intentions at heart. And I don't have anything nice to say about him, and that's just my opinion. He's just, I don't think he should be speaking about his son. I think he should be protecting his son, and the best way to do that would making sure his son had really good counsel and to really be quiet. That would be the best protection he could do for his child. At no point in time do I believe that he is, any other circumstances would he ever do that. Does he have a legal right? Yes, both him and his mom, they do. And I don't believe that it was unconsensual, which, I think they're making something that shouldn't have been happening. And it was the best case scenario for this child not to be exposed to people that were encouraging them and were doing horrible things that could have absolutely destroyed his life. And may this be the intervention that young man needs so that his life didn't become destroyed. This horrible situation could be the one reason that he doesn't wind up being a Don Wells. So from my lips to God's ears. That's funny. He said he can't even spell. You want him to write a book. You don't need to be able to spell. You don't have to spell today, David, to write a book. You don't. You can speak into a computer and it just types it out for you. That's the day and age we live in today, David. But I love the storyline. And at this point in this game of Clue, the storylines run deep. And if I were a writer, I would be with a pen and paper and I would be writing short stories. That's exactly what I would be doing. So, yeah, because if Grandis is a hero, that was the question. What would you do if somebody was in witness protection and a scenario like this comes up? How would they direct the narrative for something like that? Good storyline.
That would have to be up to the feds to fess up and say she's alive. But I can't tell you where she's at, but she's alive.
Yeah, very interesting. Very, very, because, there are people that are very, very, you have the two trains of thought in this. You have the Summer, something happened at the lake. That's the emotional response that you get from Candace. You don't get many emotional responses from Candace. You don't get many emotional responses. So one place you get an emotional response. Did she pass? Is she on the milk cartons? Are we getting sent a challenging message by the milk? Because I thought when he said that, it struck me like a brick over my head. I was like, that's a really brilliant correlation.
Mm-hmm.
Are there more than one child? What was Don doing? What was going on? These are secret societies. They're trained not to say no matter what. Who is working on both sides? Who are the snitches? You know, there's snitches with these bitches. So
Yeah.
who are the snitches? What were these people doing in caravans, coming and staying and going? Who
Who's to
was
say she's
noticing?
not over at Andy's house?
What?
Who's to say she's not over at Andy's house?
Nobody. And he's very challenging with his self. He is something else. People want to know that Summer Wells is alive and not dead and is happy and safe. They don't care. Nobody cares about. Yeah. And you know, the thing is, at one point, I think somebody should have cared about Don and Candace. At some point, it sounds like Don did have a good father, and his stepfather may have been the one that started the cycle in Don's life. But once it started, it didn't get broken. And then once the addictions kicked in, he went on a life path that has ended here. And Candace may be a victimizer, but she once was the victim. And now her life path has brought her here. But I do believe they have involved other activities, which are now getting spoken about, which is super important. Like how today these people are grooming people with addictions and feeding their addictions to groom them so that they can get them sick, so then they can in-house do these nefarious activities. And that is some scary stuff. These tunnels, these things that people talk about, that Ernie talks about, that are going to be exposed, are some scary things. And the speculation behind these things, whether that is actually what happened with Summer, she's becoming the awareness child for all those things, and for awareness on abuse, sort of like Cabby Petito did, which I don't really feel like we got full resolution on that. Do you?
No.
No. How many times did Don and Candace said he'd change and he found God in church, and once again he was lying, stealing between Candace, playing around in his own daughter life?
But what if it wasn't Dawn doing it to Summer? What if it was the oldest son? The 13-year-old.
I think that's a possibility. However, I do think it was Don. Remember
Maybe it was
that?
both of them.
Yeah, remember the last, but that was his prize. That was his prize. The last time they didn't have a door on their bathroom. And the last time Jody Sue saw Summer, she was coming out of the shower with Dawn. That
No,
was
that
the
was
last
Allie.
time she saw Summer.
I thought it was Allie.
How do you know, David? How do you know that? He has a history, and maybe he didn't. Speculation. He shows all the signs. It shows all the, I mean, it does. That's what it does, David. People, they can look, they can recognize things. And it's not just one person's opinion. This is really smart people's opinion that's probably not out of the arena. In fact, it's probably really in the arena. Who are you? So, yeah, I,
You'll never get the truth,
yeah,
which is sad.
yeah. And, thank God for God who can forgive anybody on the last minute of the last hour of the last
Right.
moment of their life. But he does that when everything has been given to him. And that starts with the truth. And that starts with true humility. And that starts with confessing all your sins, and maybe not in a pastor or in a Catholic booth, but with a heart to heart to the powers that be, because there is no lying there. So I'm going to say thank God for God who'll forgive anybody in the last hour. However, using him, because in a defense of a situation is not appropriate, nor would I say that Kitty Kitty or Dawn should be anybody's spiritual coach. I'm going to say they're not qualified.
I agree.
And I don't think that Summer was capable of saving Don's soul, David. I think a drug program might be a good start, because that sickness, and when you get up and you shoot up while Kitty Kitty is reading what's supposed to be a heartfelt poem on his 5-year-old missing daughter, and he's shooting up on camera. Hard to defend, David. Hard to defend.
Yeah, very hard to defend.
Well, this sounds like victimology, David. That's what that sounds like. It sounds like somebody that's in a state of it's not their fault. This is where counseling and addictive programs would help, so that he could get in a better mindset. And unfortunately, I believe at his age and the circumstances which he finds himself in, or has completely created for himself as an adult and being responsible for his own behavior and sickness, that he's going to have to find that not on the property. So, yeah, not feeling a lot of sympathy there for him. And I definitely don't think he should be anybody's spiritual leader. So I wanted to go back to the beginning and talk about that Summer is 5, and that her and her dogs are on the bottom of the abuse chain. I could be on panel with Ernie right now. I just like talking to Ernie, and he knows who What's Up Dog is because he's Ernie.
Go talk
But
to Ernie.
no, yeah, he's all right. He's got all the ladies on. It's okay. It's not my moment with them. And I did want to take, you see, I'm still in it because it's not going to end for me until there's some resolution. And there will be some resolution coming.
Pretty soon.
Right. So this is interesting, David. Reminds of the only person his mother. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that Don and Kitty Kitty expressed himself vehemently about how any woman could absolutely demean him, anybody. And, serial killer talk, yeah. And I'm going to say that Don probably has the similar vernacular, which means his vocabulary, because they're buddies, and birds of a feather flock together. So
Yep.
those two think alike. And in their heads, they don't even realize it's abuse. They believe themselves. So sometimes there's just no point saying anything. And unfortunately, they're always going to pick people that they can control and that have addictions, because people with addictions don't usually leave. People without addictions go, peace out, gotta go, not dealing with this monkey show.
Right.
People with addictions don't usually walk a dumb out. Bye. That's not usually
my
them.
circus.
Right. And with the boy, the boys, let's pray. I don't know what kind of help in Tennessee they would have gotten, but let's pray that they're getting that cycle broken. because odds are what's happened to one has happened to all. Though, with that said, there is a young man who won a the Pulitzer,
Uh-huh.
the Pulitzer,
Pulitzer.
can you say it?
Pulitzer.
Pulitzer
Right.
Pulitzer Prize, by writing a child called It, where he was the child, which is, there's a psychology behind that where a family has multiple children and they pick one child and that becomes the child that becomes abused. And they've also done studies where if you have one person that everybody's picking on in a family setting or a group setting like that, that the group will then in turn pick on that child. That's that's why I used to get in trouble all the time as a kid because I'd be like, well, I'll go hang out with them. If you don't like them, I'll go hang out with them and I'll be on their side because that's not right.
I did that in
So,
school. I was always with the underdog.
yeah, yeah, me too. Always. So I don't know what that says about my personality. Save the world. Okay. That's why I work with the dogs because the dogs keep me in nonverbal communication. They keep me humble. You know, you don't get very cocky when you walk into work and the first thing you're doing is cleaning up dog poop. Okay? It keeps you humble, it keeps you in reality. The dogs keep you in the moment, they help balance emotions, they keep a calming energy. They're aware of what you're feeling, what is happening. They keep you healthier. They keep you more intuitive. And what else do they do? They send endorphins, they lower your blood pressure, and they make the crankiest people on the planet smile.
Yep.
Every dog is in service. And those dogs, I followed those dogs diligently, and I haven't even finished with the videos that I downloaded. And I probably won't until it'll probably take me about 6 months to get this whole thing really narrowed down because I have so much going on in the beginning because we're not doing a year like we did last year. So I am diligently tightening up and straightening up and getting hands to paws and super good, working and organized and efficient and positive. And we're so blessed that we get to do what we get to do and people share their beloveds with us. What are we saying here, David? You're always so interesting. David, how come we can never see your face? Why don't you ever come up? Yes, but it was Hitler abuse, and yet it took over a whole control almost the world at the time. Everyone, though, like you, put it and didn't stop him or anyone else. Well, not quite like me, David. However, yes, that charismatic, how, what was it about Hitler that was so convincing? How did he get everybody to do that? He is still being studied today, in when it was the Holocaust. Is the most horrific thing to happen to
Hitler
humanity.
was an asshole.
Yeah, putting it mildly. And he almost won the war. And he
Oh,
almost won. And he almost won. But it wasn't over until that final minute, and he almost won. And that is the scariest of all. And we still have, amazingly enough, we still have Holocaust survivors. They're in their late 80s, 90s, but they're still walking around today. And as our generation had the privilege of growing up with them and hearing the stories, that's trauma. That's trauma. And may that never happen again. And unless we're discussing things, this case, nobody cares. No, I don't want to say nobody cares. People aren't that interested in what's happening with Don and Candace. They're interested in the exposure that Summer Wells is bringing and watching law enforcement and what they're doing about it, and watching search and rescues, and watching how this is going to be handled and what has happened to this child, and then all the other speculations, which Most people aren't involved in. You're not a YouTuber. You're not involved in all this speculation. You're watching the news and you've probably already forgotten about the case. But there are people paying attention and there are conversations.
Yeah, somewhere is number one. Finding her and getting her home or a proper burial or whatever, is on top of the list. And then,
Those
what we
people
have to
know that
do.
property like the back of their hand. They could never find her. You know, you're a huntaholic. You're out, right? There's places that people would never go.
I'll go.
Candace was gone for almost 2 hours. Don't they have a tracker on that car? Couldn't they
She
get...
wasn't up there.
Huh?
She wasn't up there.
Candace?
Yeah.
What do you mean she wasn't up there?
She wasn't up on that hill when she was gone.
No, she went to the holler, or she said she drove around to the holler because a 5-year-old would make it there.
She
Yes, gone. She went
probably in town.
Yeah, she disappeared. She disappeared that's her timeline is missing because they've definitely by doing so much talking messed up their timelines. So, but even Michelle from Michelle Walks is baffled. Even, everybody is going, what is going on? And everybody wants to see a conclusion.
She went to Hunter's house.
Who? Oh, you think, oh, that was the next day. She went to Hunter's. She went to Hunter's the next day to tell him to be quiet about whatever she needed him to be quiet about.
Supposedly
All of those smart people and all those fail to
fakes in the
notice him,
tea.
doctor and lawyers and the most smart people, and yet he fools everyone. Him being Don, I don't think Don's fooling anybody. I think that they're waiting because I think when the Don's charges, unless Dodge is snitching, because there's a lot to, if half of the speculation is for realsies, if half of it, you're going to get snitching. People are going to start making deals, and it's the first one that gets in that gets the deal. So
all they got to do is get those two split up, and
yeah, I think they have Hunter. I don't even think they think Hunter or H knows quite a bit, but could be wrong. I mean, the kid could be genuinely be taken out because these grown adults can't handle the pressure campaigns. How is a 15-year-old kid supposed
Friday.
to? Huh?
He goes to court Friday, so things might start boogie-woogieing after Friday.
Yeah. And where did she go? Because social services was coming to take that little girl. What happened to the evidence? And this is but I'm glad she had the dogs. I'm gonna go back on a positive note because I'm going, oh God, Summer. But it's not just Summer, it's children in her situation.
Yes.
It's the theories that, like when I was on Everyday Shenanigans and she was like, you have to wrap your brain about it. It is because it is too traumatic to think about. It is traumatic when we think about these things. It's traumatic if we've been exposed to these things. It's traumatic if we've experienced these things. I don't know anybody actually that doesn't have some version of a traumatic story in their life. I just haven't met them. Well, I've met a few people that have told me they've had amazing childhoods and they've just been blessed. They've been blessed with everything in life. That's wonderful. But I don't know, maybe 2 I can think of. Everybody else. So when we're throwing accusations, when we're saying things, one of the things we never want to promote is more of that. And when you think of that, whether it's anybody, male, female, child, or dog, remember to think of what the real reactions are. and then add emotion behind that, because that becomes walls of shame. And once you have walls of shame, you have self-destruction. And that's where we don't want people. Okay. And when
Right.
this subject has brought up, one of my first YouTube vocabulary words was trigger alert. Trigger alert, because I realized they were warning people that these subject matters are triggering. They're triggering if you've experienced it and you haven't come to the other side of healing of it. So, but hands down to the community that became aware of those things and went out of their way to not only be better, but become the heroes, because that was a setback turned into a comeback. Bam, baby. Well done. Well done. Anybody that can get up, fall down, brush it off, and have the same enthusiasm as if it never happened is bound to be a winner.
I agree.
Ernie just showed a really inappropriate clip. I'm pretty sure it was a quick fellatio clip. I have no idea what in context that was, but I'm pretty sure I just saw that. Are you going back? Are you Ernie on? I'm gonna have to go back here for a moment because I'm not I don't know what just happened here. I
I'm gonna
mean,
have to reboot my phone.
Ernie, you are our hero. You cannot be doing things like that, Ernie. I guess Ernie can do whatever he wants. So who am I?
He usually does.
Yeah. Oh, now all right. I'm gonna have to go back because I was like, hold up. You see my eyes? I looked over. I was like, did Lucille Ball? Oh my God.
Like, what did you see?
I love David's storyline, and he's stuck to that storyline about Grandis.
Yeah.
He's really stuck to it, and he hasn't really wavered. You know, just like I haven't wavered from I want to see Jody Sue and her kids be the escape the hell. Though I don't know if Jody Sue will ever really escape the hell because the property and her family, and but
She's off
escape,
the.
yeah, and you know she and do well. That would be also an amazing storyline. So would if, you know, and then the storyline of being hidden and the sister and they're all okay and they're living in a cabin. You just go see, you know, this book. That'd be a great storyline too. And then we have the horror storyline, the horror parts of it. It would have been right, because he's still talking, but it would have been. And maybe I didn't see it. Maybe that's what I thought. Maybe I should put my glasses on. I don't know, Ernie, what happened? What happened? Yeah, I wonder if Trish from Missing But Not Forgotten. I've thought that before, that she might be bait, but then she talks about all her personal stuff.
Yeah.
And then, and I always say, what do I always say? I'd like to have coffee with Trish. She's the kind of girl I'd go see having. Do you know what I mean? She's just basic sweetness. And then she's done the befriending of Andrew thing, which, just surprised me because she's the first person to find those pictures and to correlate the symbols and to discuss it. So I don't know if she's baiting, because I know he's challenging, he's playing, and or if she's, what exactly is going on there. Very interesting. Or if none of that and is happening at all, and she's not aware at all.
Oh my God.
Did you see it? Did you find it?
133.50.
Oh my God, did I see what I think I saw?
That's nasty.
Why did he play that?
I don't know.
Ernie, you're my hero. How could you do that?
I hope he edits that out.
I couldn't believe my eyes. Like my eyes literally popped out of my head. I just saw how quick I turned. I was like, I think I just saw this.
Yeah, you definitely saw it.
Then I had to think of the words to say appropriately on YouTube.
Wow.
I can't believe I was like, what? And what was the context of that? Why, Ernie? Why? That? No, Ernie. Shame on you.
Yikes.
I wonder what the context was.
I don't know.
Oh, I keep doing that, but I didn't turn the camera back on. It's funny. I'm going to have to go back to 133 now and go, what was the context of this, Ernie? Why? Why? I innocently turned over to see Ernie, and that's not what I saw. It's not what I saw at all.
Perfect time.
It's like, what? Is that a... Oh, God, he's doing it again. Oh, no, this is...
Send this live chat to Burnt Toast. Oh, my God.
Oh, Burnt Toast is going to have a blast with that. Burnt Toast and... Oh, my God. Crude as... Oh, why? And it was a large, and it was very explicit.
Yeah.
It was super Ernie. Maybe I should watch what it was in context, because I've seen it twice now. I don't think I should go. You really never know what's going to happen. That's why I'm so hooked. I don't know if they're going to get into a fight. You just never know what's going to happen.
Did that lady go up there and put it up, maybe?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. But that's definitely the way more interesting chat.
Let's go to Ernie's chat.
Let's go to Ernie's chat. Okay, everybody. We're heading over to see what's happening at Operation Rescue, because apparently it got adult version XXX. Leave the kids out of this one.
Yes.
All right. See you tomorrow night. Over to Ernie's channel. Bye.